Chris Green, buddy, great to see you. We are live. Where is Anthony again today?
I have no idea. Where's he at, man?
That's a very good question.
Did he get lost in Vegas?
Sure.
Did he get lost in Vegas?
I bet he's still at a poker table. Let's find out. Chris Green, my friend, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here while Anthony is away. I believe right now, Chris, he's getting a tour of the Drew Las Vegas. And we had that Drew team on a few weeks ago, and it was really great to see how they're inventing a great property. I'm excited. And as you know, yesterday we had a live show from Park MGM as they reopened that last property for MGM Resorts. It seems to me very symbolic of things moving forward. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. That's great. I mean, the Drew's an amazing project, and I'm sure you know how Anthony is. He's either talking or he's at one of the poker tables or he's walking around smoozing with somebody. So he'll probably show up at some point.
Yeah. All right. So we apologize. Chris is on location, so his internet's a little bit.
Is it?
You look like someone put Vaseline on the lens, which might be good.
Oh, it's because of the sunshine behind me.
Yeah. That's all right. Ooh, look at that. So where are we today, Chris Green? But first of all, before you tell us that, more importantly, I'm going to go to a single shot over here because this is something super cool. This is a groundbreaking that you were at, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was great. That was yesterday up in New Haven, Connecticut. We did the groundbreaking for an adaptive reuse, the Hotel Marcel, which is a historic adaptive reuse building. It's going to be the first passive house hotel in the U.S. So energy neutral hotel. The owner that's developing it, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be LEED Platinum certified, one of 10 of only 10 out of 80,000 hotels that are LEED Platinum certified. It's going to have solar array panels over the parking to drive the efficiency of the building. It's going to be an amazing project. It's a Tapestry brand by Hilton. So
that's awesome.
It was an amazing day yesterday, and it was so fun to be with some people, the bankers up there and the ownership group, and then people from Hilton in the middle of this doing something great for hospitality, adding a new project. So.
Yeah, that is absolutely fantastic. All right, so that's exciting, but you're also on location at one of your hotels today. Something else that's exciting. Where are you today?
I'm actually in my hometown in Jacksonville, Florida at the newly renovated Crowne Plaza, Jacksonville Airport. Owner just spent multi-million-dollar renovation here. I'm standing in 1822, which is our bar. And it's so great to be with the team. I've got a couple of our corporate team here, and we're working through the final parts of the renovation. So it's so exciting, Glenn, is I'm back doing what I love. I got my tie on. I got my suit on. I'm back with the teams. I mean, we're not there business-wise, nowhere near it. And there's other things we got to talk about. Right? The government and the stimulus. But man, this is why I love what I do, is just being out and seeing people in the hotels and taking care of others. So my energy level is at an all-time high right now.
It seems like it. And you should know Suzanne Markham-Bagnera says, look how fancy Chris looks today. So
I clean up okay, I guess. So.
It's all right. Yeah, Mauricio, thank you for all of you folks. She said, hey, she was just getting ready to write that too. I'm just gonna assume that they all think you look great because I look horrific today. But what can you do? I'm in my home office. I'm happy to be here again today. But Chris, it is so exciting. I actually this week got to go out and do a speaking engagement up on the Connecticut-New York border for the New York State Travel Authority and the Westchester Hotel Association. It was so much fun, Chris, being in person, speaking to a crowd. Of course, the crowd was only about 40 people, and they were all physically distancing from each other, and we all had masks, and it was really weird because you couldn't read the people's faces, but so much fun to have an actual opportunity to speak to a live audience in front of me. Love speaking to this live audience who's watching on the internet, but to get that interaction with people again, so great. So I think for both of us, this is a very significant week about moving forward spiritually, if not financially.
Yeah, I mean, it's time to, I was talking to the GM here today. Brian Brooks does a great job for us, and we're in this, right? So you can either choose to kind of swim in it, or you can just we're going to get out. We're going to do what we do best and drive forward. And that's where my energy's at right now. We did the same thing, the PR meeting the news release yesterday, we had about 40 people, the bankers and the construction people, and then the owners and developers and the design people, all socially distanced. The nice part for me was I got to speak for a minute, and I got to take my mask off because I was way away from everybody and had a microphone. And it was just super energizing to talk about our industry. And I said the same thing I told you, is that not only was that a great day for New Haven and a great day for Tapestry and Hilton and these owners seeing their vision, it was a great day for hospitality because people are still investing. They still believe in this business, and they should.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I'm absolutely 100% delighted, but a little surprised that a project is still able to get off the ground today. Well, today's October 1st, but yesterday when you broke ground on September 30th, that's pretty amazing situation in of itself.
Well, if you think about it, though, that hotel is going to open up summer of 21. And we're going to be ramping out. In my belief, we're going to be starting to ramp out, and just like any other new hotel, it's going to have a ramp up. But that hotel is going to be in amazing condition, brand new, coming out of the pandemic. It's got a great brand, a great location, and a world-class design. I mean, world-class. It's going to have power over Ethernet for all the lighting. It's going to have some of the most advanced technologies you've ever seen in a hotel. So not only is it going to be a cool hotel, it's going to be groundbreaking in a lot of the things it does within hotels. So it's going to have a lot of energy behind it in that Northeast corridor. Yeah.
Excellent. I think that's exciting. And, we had on Chip Rogers on Monday, and we were talking all about how Congress needs to do something. Before we bring in our amazing guest today, you sound that you feel like you need to talk a little bit about what Congress needs to do in order to help hoteliers to get through this really difficult time right now.
Well, I want to be careful here. So, I mean, listen, there was lots of layoffs this week, Disney, the airlines, and then there was news today about $20 billion for the airlines to get some stimulus out. And I feel like that hospitality, for whatever reason, just gets shoved to the side. And we've got people, if you just take my small company, and we've still got half of our staff that's out, and unemployment benefits are running out. These are people that have busted their butts years in this industry, love this industry, and they're struggling to find somewhere to go, but we're just not getting the talk. Restaurants and hotels, I said it yesterday and I'll say it again, we're the tip of the spear. Every industry, cruises, airlines, everything comes right to us. They stay with us, they sleep with us, they travel with us, and we're hurting, and we need another round of stimulus, and government needs to get together and do it, because honestly, everything's run out at this point. PPPs have run out for most owners. Unemployment's going back. So people are really hurting, and it's time to acknowledge it and make a difference. So I'm really calling on our government to make something happen soon.
Yeah, well, they better do something, because if not, the problem is going to become extremely exacerbated. This is one of those things that really starts to build on each other, and it's going to cause a lot more problems if we do not nip it in the bud. All right, let's get on to more of hopefully an inspirational conversation, although there's still a lot of hurdles to get by. We're going to be talking today with Peggy Berg of the Castell Project. They're very focused on helping women and African Americans and other Black folks not from the United States necessarily find equality and positions within the hospitality industry. Let's chat with Peggy Berg. Peggy, big fan. How are you today? Great to see you.
I'm great and delighted to be here with you.
Yes, well, thank you so much for being here.
Where'd she go?
I think she's there. I think the best place for us to start is, why don't you explain to everybody a little bit about what the Castell Project is, what your mission is, and why you feel it's so important to help women and other folks in minority groups find equal footing in the hospitality industry.
So we can look around ourselves in the hospitality industry, and we can see that maybe more than half of our employees are women. 1 out of 5 of our employees are Black people. And then we look at who's at a hotel investment conference and who's on the podium. And it's not women and not Black people. So something is happening between our schools, where hospitality programs are 67% female, and our C-suite, where it's 5% female. So Castell Project's looking around and saying, we've been talking about fixing this forever, for decades, and it's not fixed. So let's figure out where the friction is, and let's figure out how to ease that friction so we can get real opportunity for all of our employees, for our team members, make our industry the most desirable place to be for all kinds of people.
Right. So where do you think the root of this problem is coming from? Why do you think, after decades of us talking about it, and I feel like I've been talking about it most of my career, it's still such a huge disconnect between the amount of females coming out of schools, the amount of females working at the property level, compared to the amount of women that then graduate to the C-suites?
Well, it's kind of an old answer, but bias is a big part of the answer. And it's not just bias of old white guys being biased against young white and black women. It's bias that we have internally also. Women and black people and old white guys, all of us have built-in biases, and we need to figure out how to deal with them, how to get over them, how to recognize them, and how to just bluntly face up to them. So when we say we find places where that friction is holding people back, the first friction is, well, show me the numbers. So we have something that we can actually talk about that's not all emotional, that's empirical. These are the numbers. The odds of a black person making it to the C-suite are 1 in 145.
Wow.
So
well, what does that compare to? What does that compare to for a white person? What does that compare to what Chris went through as he found his way up the corporate food chain?
Right. So for every Chris that is getting promoted, 145 black people are not making manager, not making VP, not making EVP. They're getting passed over. So we have the numbers. Now the question is, if 1 in 5 of our employees are black, why are 1 in 145 of our leaders black? And all right, that's empirical. We know that passing over is happening. So how do we solve the passing over? So the next piece of where is there friction? There's friction coming out of our hospitality programs into the industry. Do women and black people see opportunity when they're in a hotel school and they say, do I want to go to work in a hotel? Or no, maybe I'll take my general business degree and do something else.
Right.
And they're, we are not the most desirable, major within hotel schools. And we should be, because we are flat out the best opportunity. So Castell Project goes out to hotel schools. We take teams of 4 executive women, and on every one of our teams, there's diversity. So there are Asian women and Latino women and black women and white women, and we go as a group and we talk to students about what you can do in this business, how you can build a career, how you can have a family and work in this industry.
Excellent.
And the response has been great. We'll talk to 1,000 kids in 2020.
Wow. That's pretty credible.
Yeah, it's amazing. The schools have been great. The response has been great. And hopefully it'll ease that friction as more people come into the industry saying, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to seek promotion.
Right. Okay. So, Chris, let me throw this to you then, sir. And I apologize for Chris's fuzzy kind of picture there, but I know what he's going to say is going to be essential. So be sure this is a great time for you to subscribe to the audio feed of the No Vacancy Live podcast as well. You can find it on No Vacancy on iTunes. You can find it on Checking In with Anthony and Glenn on iTunes, Google Play, and wherever you guys like to get your podcast. So, Chris, how do you put together all of this? Because I know you know that this is an actual issue. How do you feel about it? What are you trying to do at your company? Because I know that you have female representation, for example, in your C-suite. So could you set the stage for us on how you feel about this?
Well, I mean, we're primarily data people in hotels, right? We're driven by data. And I think the stuff that Peggy's been doing and others have made a huge impact on me. I mean, it saddens me, quite frankly. And if we look around and we take the empirical data that she's sharing and we look around us when we're at Alice or a major hotel conference, you can't deny the fact that it's true. I believe that the friction, which I think is a good term, is between basically line level and then coming out of line into the first level of management. I think that's where the friction is are the leaders that are in the field not using bias, but just putting the very best person in the next supervisory role and then investing in them to get them going. That's what happened to me. I mean, I believe though, and I think it's what Peggy's addressing. Some people, and this is what makes me really sad. What she was talking about is if people are coming out of school and they don't see the fact that become a GM of a hotel is an amazing career opportunity, then we've done it all wrong. We've done it all wrong. And I couldn't agree with her more. We've got to get our line level managers and our mid-level managers to understand that there are so many great people, and diversity is of so much value to us. We do. We have my VP of HR, my SVP of operations, my VP of revenue strategy. We have all of these great leaders on their way up, and you'll see them in C-suite positions. These are like managers in their 30s and 40s, and these are females. And we're looking to drive them forward because the value they bring is unbelievable. I was raised to value everyone's opinion. So, I've got my own set of values on this. I believe everyone has value, and we need to listen to everybody. But I think that the leaders in our industry, and they are Chris Nacetta and these guys at the big brands, they are doing things. It's just slow because we're so far behind.
Right. That makes sense. Peggy, do you think that's fair to say that people are doing things, but it's slow and they're far behind?
Yes, so they were slow in the 70s when I started.
That was non-existent in the 70s. Slow
I'm
is being
tired
polite.
of slow. Let's move it. And I think as we look at the people, the talent that's coming up in our industry, sometimes we look at women, we look at Black people, we look at Asian people, and they look a little different to us. Their behavior's a little different, and we tend to say, okay, that kind of doesn't make the cut for me, and then we pass them over. So the next thing I think that needs to happen is that we need to get very clear about what behaviors, what training we can provide for this diverse pool that we have in our industry so that they can get recognized. Because frankly, they work really hard and they're still getting passed over, and there's a few little things that are making that difference in how they're getting evaluated. And if we can provide just the right resources so that they present in a way that helps us recognize them and move them up, it'll make a big difference. So part of it's the bosses, and part of it's the bosses investing in just the right skills for their team members so that they can get recognized.
Well, that makes a lot of sense to me. Chris, I got a question. For you. I think you said that when you do certain hiring, you just show the resumes without any names or something like that. Is that what you did say that, correct?
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to emphasize that point, because I think it gets to the next issue that I want to talk to Peggy with about conscious versus unconscious bias in the workplace.
I think there's value in it. You just look at the person's skill set, their training, and you don't look at their name that might give a cue to either their ethnicity or their gender, because it doesn't matter. You know that about me, Glenn. It doesn't. I want the very best person sitting in that seat, because that's what's best for the organization and it also shows that you're committed to what you say. The worst thing is if we say something, we don't do anything. That's something that's just not acceptable to me. So I think we've got to, as leaders, we're a small company. We're not a big company, but we can make a difference one step at a time. I think, Peggy, one of the questions I'd have, Glenn, if you'd let me have a little leeway is,
yeah, man, you're like the de facto co-host when Anthony's too chicken to come on the show.
One of the things that I want to talk about, Peggy, is we've talked about this before, is if the funnel is small, right? So let's say you have a VP role and you've got 10 candidates, and because the way that we've done a poor job, and as an industry, you have 8 white males and 1 African-American candidate and 1 female candidate. If you're only hiring the best candidate, and this is just what I want to know your thoughts on this, and maybe because there's been so much training poured in, you've got, unfortunately, the white male is the best candidate. It's very difficult when the funnel is small, and that's what I think we need to fix is the funnel. We need 4 women in the pool, and we need 4 African Americans or Asians in the pool, and we need 4 white males in the pool because I can tell you, when you get these roles you're talking about, you're going to have 8, 1, and 1 maybe, and it's something that I think that's what we got to attack.
Right. Hold on, Peggy. We gotta unmute you. Sorry, Peggy's been having she has this weird noise in the background, so we're just trying to keep that going. Peggy, take it away, my friend.
Okay, so they did a study a scientific study, and I know you're a data guy, Chris, and
Yep.
what the study said is this. If you have 6 people in a pool of candidates and there's 5 men and 1 woman, the odds for the woman getting the job are 0.
Right.
Not 1/6, not 1 out of 5,
Wow.
0. And the reason there's 0 is because out of that pool of the 6 candidates, you've got the marketing guy, you've got the connected guy, you've got the ops guy, you've got the tech guy, and you've got the woman. So when you're categorizing people that way, there is no way that a woman is ever going to be the best candidate because she's only defined as the woman in the pool. She might be also the second best at marketing and tech and ops and HR, or she might be the best in one of them. But as long as the thing that she's qualified for in your mind is the woman, she'll never get hired. So let me say that you're right, that we need to change who's in our pool. We need to have, if we have 2 women or 3 women in a pool of 10, then it's not the woman, it's the great marketing person, the great ops person, the best numbers person. And then they have a chance.
Right. All right. So Suzanne says that you are participating in diversity and inclusion session. So that's on Wednesday, October 7th. Go check that out right there. Chris, what were you going to say, sir?
No, I think she's exactly right, and I love her perspective on that. And that stat is heartbreaking to me. I know my own moral compass, so I know that 1 out of 6 they would have a whatever that is 20% chance in our company. But that it saddens me to know that that's and I am an empirical guy, so that's hard to hear.
Right. So Peggy, what can we do then to give everybody that equal opportunity that's truly equal, not just inviting somebody to interview when subconsciously it's not an equal opportunity at all?
Okay, so one thing Chris does, take the names off. That's very good. If you're interested in hiring from within your home team, give those people that are female and minorities, give them a little extra training for how they present themselves so they can overcome whatever biases may be against them. And talk to the people that are making the hiring decisions, because we all have this thing where if I hired a white guy in the past, and I've hired a bunch of white guys in the past, and one of them fails, it's fine. I fire him and I go hire another one, and I don't really think that much of it. But if I hire a black guy for that same job and that black guy fails, then I feel like they betrayed me. I gave the black race a chance in this spot.
Yeah,
and the
right.
black race failed me, and I will never hire another one, or I'll never step out of my way for another one. So the way that we judge people is simply kind of screwed up.
I agree with you. Peggy,
name it and fix it.
You're absolutely right. And I don't know if I would do that sort of a thing, but I definitely feel, on my point of view, that if I see the news, and since I'm a Jewish guy, if a Jewish guy committed a crime, I feel like, you've let down all of the people. So it's kind of like the reverse aspect of that. And I think our natural human inclination is to kind of lump groups together when we can, either consciously or unconsciously. So,
Glenn, can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
So you know our company tagline, and this is not marketing for Chesapeake. It's just we did our company
being on the show every week for 6 months, we know who you are.
Our company tagline is experience what's possible, and that message has resonated for our team when we talk about our culture, because we believe in possibility for everybody. And I think that's something that Peggy can probably talk to empirically. Is I believe in possibility for our clients and our hotels, but also our team to experience what they want out of a career in hospitality. What I think is that I've heard, and Peggy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I've heard that because we've been so skewed for so long, that sometimes the candidate doesn't have a belief that they can ascend to any role, so they don't even pursue it. I've heard that that's really a cap on what they don't believe they can achieve the next role because they don't see anybody in the next role. And if I could do anything, I would want to inspire people to listen. This business, I know I'm white, and I probably have had privileges that I didn't actually earn. But I'm the son of a military man, and I've worked my butt off in this business, and everybody has a chance. That's my belief. We've just got to make that the truth.
Make it the truth. Yes. And that's what was so shocking to me about the one chance out of 145 for Black people, because I don't believe that about my industry. I believe this is an industry where everybody has opportunity, and I want that to be true, and we've got to make that true.
Right.
We've got to make that true. So you're right. And let's talk about a couple of places again where we have that friction. So we find that women and minorities in colleges and universities, and not just in hospitality, but especially in hospitality, they aim low.
Right.
And that's one reason that we and these 80 executives so far this year are out there talking to students about aiming high. We know that for women in business, and all businesses, but by our statistics, especially hospitality, we run into a situation where our corporate leaders and our bosses make decisions for us or lead us to decisions that may not be in our best interest. Like, I know you just had a baby, honey, I won't send you to the conference. Thank you for recognizing that I just had a baby, but that doesn't mean that I want you to make a decision to cut off my career.
Right. Well, I was going to actually
don't do me any favors like that.
I was going to ask you that question specifically. Women are half of the human race, and you are the ones that actually birth children. Therefore, I've seen over my career a lot of women choosing to stay at home more so than men to take care of those kids. Do them voluntarily moving themselves from the workplace affect women's ability to move up the corporate ladder? If not, why? If so, how can we get past holding women accountable for raising a family and taking time off to do what many think is the right thing by their family and by society in general, Peggy?
Okay, so let me tell you two ways that assumption is kind of off base.
Great, and that's why you're here.
Yes. Okay, so if I'm a woman and I can move into leadership,
mm-hmm.
I have resources and I have control over my own schedule. So right. I can pay somebody else to go to the dry cleaner. I can pay somebody else to go to the grocery store, and I can spend quality time raising my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I determine, at least to some extent, how my schedule works. If I want to go to a ball game or a PT or go read in a kid's class.
Right.
If I work as a line level team member in a hotel, whether it's a Chesapeake Hotel or Peggy Berg's Hampton Inn down the street.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm a single mom. I've got a kid. I'm working at the Hampton Inn on the front desk, and I'm working at the Holiday Inn Express and night audit. So I've got at least one full-time and probably another part-time job. I have no resources because I'm making a little more than minimum wage. I can't get help. I can't spend time with my kids. And I lose on all fronts. So don't tell me that it's better for me to kind of downgrade my career than it is for me to go for it, because right. Resources are what help me be a better mom. Mm-hmm. And have a better chance for time with my kids.
Right.
So, we got to get.
I think that's great perspective.
Yeah.
That's
I
great
love that
perspective, Peggy. Yeah.
Yeah, and Chris, right? That's why we do this show all the time, to be able to really learn from each other, because no matter what, we're all biased. It may not necessarily be negative biases, but everything we are is, I am a product of my upbringing, my religion that I was born to, my culture, all of those kinds of things come together to create a unique perception that I have on the universe that may or may not mesh with societies in general, which brings us to an interesting point, I think, that Shelley Catalan puts out there. Someone's home culture may not prepare them to present themselves as a dominant culture, as some might expect. It might preclude them from being considered for advancement. A little extra training, she thinks, can totally help change someone's world professionally, especially if you might know they come from a marginalized community. Now, I will say, based on the book Freakonomics, certain Asian cultures have more respect for older folks and therefore take more of a I'm trying to find the right word, less aggressive tone. And a Korean Air flights crashed in New York City outside LaGuardia Airport in 2001. And they determined the root cause of that problem, because that plane was running out of fuel, was that the Asian pilots weren't aggressive enough with the New York air traffic controllers to make the emergency really clearly known. I mean, that's just one example and is not reflective of an entire culture, of course, but it does show that they were not taught to speak up and be aggressive like loudmouth white guy New Yorker people. So that caused a problem. So I do believe in our society, based on different cultural differences, that we all have different opportunities. We all have different challenges with us. So how do you look to compensate, Peggy, to help people get over whatever their cultural nuances are that might make them hold a particular position that could adversely affect their career aspirations, if that makes sense to you?
Okay, so let's go back just a sec to the second half of the previous question. So Chris said, or maybe you said, well, women have babies and they leave the workforce.
Yeah, I did.
And I appreciate you saying that, but statistically, in the United States, most moms work. In fact, the great majority of moms work. So if what's happening is that women are having babies and they're looking at your company and they're saying, you know what, this is not a good place for me to work, I'm going to go get a better offer. So let me tell you that when a woman has a baby and leaves your company, it's not because she had a baby. It's because she looked at your company and she said, I can do better. And she leaves. Now, she may leave and be out of the workforce for a few months and come back for another company. She may leave and become an independent sole proprietor of something. She may leave and start her own company.
Right.
Whatever she's doing, she's working.
Right.
She's making money. You're just not getting the benefit of it because you assumed that she was out of the workforce because she had a baby. I got to tell you, I take it personally because
no, I'm not saying that at all, Peggy. I'm saying if somebody voluntarily leaves a workforce for a year or 2 years or 3 years, that theoretically puts them against competition that they were equal with 2-3 years behind them and puts them at a disadvantage simply because they made that decision. Does that make more sense to you? And how do you work through that particular issue?
Yes, that's an issue. And so for women, if what we're saying is it's so unpleasant working for this company while I have a new baby that I'm going to have to sacrifice my career progression.
Interesting. That's a great point.
Problem, and how do we overcome that? But also for a company, let me tell you about the hospitality consulting business, where a group of women, kind of my cohort, we basically all left our firms at the same time. And the firms, bless them, said, oh, they're on the mommy track.
Right.
And that group of women took $10 million in revenues out of those firms into their own companies. They just didn't need the firm.
Good.
Do better financially. So the firms lost, the women did fine. But it didn't change the perception. Those old white guys, and bless them, many of them are still around, said, oh, they went on the mommy track. They were wrong. They were just wrong. And it cost them. And I honestly don't think they were perceptive enough about their own data to even notice that money not coming in.
Right. Wow. That's really unbelievable. Chris, before we continue, just give me 1 second. Christopher Becker says, not sure if that Korean air crash happened outside New York City. Christopher, please fact check me. I'm not going to say I'm 100% sure, but I'm referring to a crash that happened in September 2001 outside LaGuardia Airport, a couple of weeks after 9/11. It kind of rattled us all here in New York City. Chris, please continue.
I was just going to talk. I won't use her name, but my head of operations, she had a baby and went from VP to SVP during that time because we are very baby friendly at Chesapeake, and And I think everybody can, I look to one of the brands that I'm so proud of that does a great job is Hilton. I think Chris and the team at Hilton have done amazing things. And for a small management company, coming out of that box and having, expanded time off for maternity and paternity leave and doing those things is difficult, because Peggy knows the economics of it. It's difficult, but it's the right thing. And guess what? You retain amazing people. And it's a proof in point. I mean, this person was able to, through the promotion, have people to help her with the new baby and still kept going. She's actually here in the hotel with me today, crushing it here at this hotel.
Awesome.
And so it's doable. And I thought, Peggy, that was just really great perspective. I really appreciate what you said. That really resonates.
Peggy, I got a great question for you coming here from John Brinkman. We've been trained to do not ask some types of questions. Can you go? Is it possible? How do you approach that in today's culture to set that stage for that that equality, considering a woman who may have had been recently through childbirth as someone who we don't perceive as being a woman who's just proceeded childbirth and need to take care of kid gloves and all of that kind of stuff. Yes, Chris, you go for it then.
I think I'm going to answer for Peggy. We don't ask. We just say, you're going to the conference. You're my VP of development. The conference is here. And then if they say, oh, I'm having an issue or whatever, then you need to be the kind of company that you're dealing with a human and an issue, not a woman and an issue.
Right. But you also have to set the stage culturally that when you ask that question, there is an understanding that that individual, no matter who they are, can respond to you truthfully and how they feel about something instead of telling you how you think they want to feel. Correct?
Yeah. They have a role. And I think that one of the unconscious biases we have is assuming that because they have a baby or whatever, that they can't go. I mean, they need to take care of the home life. That's not true. Who knows what their home life is like? They probably have it all together. My wife works way harder than I do, and she's way smarter than I am. So I'd take her any day, every day for all the things she does. So it's just
right. And if my wife is watching, yes, you do much more than me. Just wanted to get that out there. Peggy, was Chris saying make sense to you?
I think one of the best things that's going to come out of this year 2020 of racial unrest and all the challenges that we're hearing about in the press every day is that all of a sudden we can talk about it. So politically correct seems to be out the window, and kind of let's get honest and ask the questions and be upfront and be brave. And if we say something wrong, let's not say it quite as stupidly next time, but let's open that dialogue and keep the dialogue going, because that's really how you get over the bias. I think the thing that's made the bias so much worse over these last couple of decades is that we haven't been allowed to talk about it. It's been politically incorrect to ask questions. We all make assumptions, and that hurts all of us. So take a risk, ask a question, don't presume to make a decision for somebody else, talk it out with people, and I think we'll all be so much ahead. It's hard to do. But
it really is, because it's uncomfortable, and human nature is we tend to try to avoid things that make us uncomfortable. I know there are certain things that I find uncomfortable, and I go to a lot of efforts not to deal with them, right? I'm certainly terrible with certain things, so I try to avoid that. Fortunately, I'm more comfortable in these particular types of situations, but I totally understand where you're coming from. If we can't be open and honest and have a real dialogue with each other, then we're not going to be able to move forward. We're all flawed human beings, and that's okay, as long as we're continuing to strive to bring equanimity between all of us. Right, Chris?
Well, listen, I think, and this is one of those things Peggy says you got to say carefully, but I think it's weak leadership. I mean, I think people have been afraid for a long time to have hard conversations and make difficult choices and promote the right person, maybe if they didn't fit the exact cookie cutter picture that you were thinking about. And that's what's got to change. And to me, that's weak leadership. The same thing that you see in management associates that are afraid to have the tough conversations when people aren't performing and they just skim over it. These are not easy. They're complex conversations, and they take delicate care and emotional intelligence, but we need to teach our leaders to have them, or else we're not going to get where we want to go. And I think we have to own it.
Right.
I will say that if you've got a culture where guys are used to saying, like, regular white guys are used to saying, I want to do that, send me. And women and Black people are not used to kind of being, putting themselves out there like that, then you as the leader have to push them a little bit. You have to say, I think you can do it. I have faith in you. You have the skills. Let's give it a try. Do it. It's good to push folks who have the capability and the skill sets, and you're not seeing them step up. Help them take that step. And the more that you help them take those steps, the more they'll be able to do it on their own.
Right.
They'll get that confidence to do it on their own.
Yeah, I love that. That is so important. In November, we're working very hard to schedule Thomas Penny III as the president of Donahoe Hospitality. And at first, I'm like, just a management company, and they came at me with the diversity angle. And I'm always weird about, people coming at me with diversity angles, because I feel like if you're a woman first, or if you're a Black person first, that goes against the grain of us trying to all look at each other as individuals based on our merits and character, right? But I got to point out of the top 12 people that are featured on their website, there are 2 white guys. That's it. 5 women, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 African Americans, and 2 Asian folks as well. That to me is such an incredible thing of diversity. And I'd love to see more companies get like that, because I think the more diversity you have in a company, the less diversity seems to stick out. When you have that one woman in the boardroom, or that one Black person in the boardroom, it feels like there's diversity. Otherwise, when you have something like the good folks at Donahoe, it just feels like America. And I think that is what we should all be striving for. I just think, I think about all of those subway rides I took when I lived in Brooklyn. I looked around me and I saw all the different colors of skin and all the different cultures and all the different clothes. And I felt like I was part of something special. When I'm with a bunch of white Jewish guys, I don't feel that way at all. It just feels like, I don't know, Tuesday or something like that, right? I don't feel as American as I should be. Peggy, is that something that we should be striving for?
Absolutely. Our guests cover the rainbow. They cover the entire, they're from the entire planet. And if we really want to take care of our guests and build our businesses, we need to have those same opportunities for our team members, and we need to see that in leadership. And I'll tell you, in our industry, in order to have really diverse leadership, we need to have more diverse people owning hotels.
That's right.
We need to have more diversity at let's do our first hotel deal. And that's the next thing that Castell Project is going to be working on, together with She Has a Deal, because we think there's an opportunity coming out of the coming recession. That will be a financial opportunity for whoever's available to take advantage of it. And we want to make sure that women and people of color are part of that community that comes into ownership now and rises up into leadership in our industry.
All right, so I got to mention, I was just about to drop this guy's name, Andy Ingram, on the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And he just jumped on to say there's more talk about diversity and less action, unfortunately. Andy, we're trying to do our best with the talk, but I think he's got a point there. So how do we turn talk into action? Chris, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Chesapeake, I can only talk about our company.
Of course.
We've operated for a long, long time. We launched back in the middle of the pandemic our diversity council, because we never had it, and we've done studies on pay equality to make sure we were doing what we said and making it true, but we still thought we could do better. So we launched our diversity council, and we're gonna those actions and those ideas are gonna be brought in your leadership, and we're gonna take action on that stuff. Because here's the thing that Peggy brought up with her statistics. I think we're going to learn things we didn't know. And that's what we need to know. Real leaders will take data that you can act upon and do something with it. And I love Andy. Andy is just one of my favorite guys. He's so smart and he's so forward thinking about getting owners to own more hotels. And the other thing I will tell you about Thomas Penny, I don't know him personally, but I really respect what he's doing. He's running a great company. They do a great job. And he's got a very diverse culture. And I think that he's kind of a bellwether for our industry on how you can make it happen. So you're going to enjoy the conversation.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to having it. Peggy, your advice as we start to wind down this conversation.
Did I go away?
No, you're there.
So if you've got a hotel company,
Did you lose me?
look at your website.
No,
I
we
looked at
didn't.
your website the other day, and there were 5 old white guys and a woman, and her title was secretary. And I thought, if I'm looking at a website right now and that's what I see, I don't want to work for that. I don't want to invest in that. It's not part of the future. So if that's what you see on your own, in your own company, it's time to really shake it up.
Right. Yeah. Excellent. Any final thoughts, Chris? It
I
looks
agree.
like your internet troubles are getting a lot worse.
Okay. Well,
Was
then,
that Chris?
no, I just appreciate the conversation. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
No, it's not. It's not your fault. It's all good, buddy. All right, we'll let him go. Peggy, yeah, thanks so much for being here. This is really a great conversation that we've been having. We need to continuing it along. Maybe get you and Mary Beth Kutchell on the show together.
Mary Beth's awesome. Anytime.
I know.
Thanks
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's been an inspiration. I love what you folks are doing. One more word of advice that you could give all of our thousands of listeners that are out there today about how they can do their part to create equality within the workplace for everyone.
Just work hard. And if you're a woman, if you're a person of color, make it happen for yourself. Push for your career. And in this industry, you can make that happen.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Peggy. You're absolutely fantastic. And we will see you soon enough, I hope. Okay?
Thanks, Glenn.
Hey, thank you. It was really terrific. And thanks to all of you for being here once again. Tomorrow we've got a special show. We're actually going to be focused on all those fundraising efforts that we were doing early on during the COVID crisis. The money has been given out, and we're going to tell you where it went and who it went to and all of that kind of great stuff. And please do us a favor, help us build our YouTube following. Subscribe to our page on YouTube under No Vacancy News, where we got a lot of great coverage, not only this show, but also No Vacancy News Today, which I'm doing 2 or 3 times a week, looking at some of the major news stories, analyzing some of the major news stories, and helping people understand what's always happening in this incredible world of hospitality. I want to thank you all so much for being here. Be sure to subscribe to our weekly newsletter. Text the word hotel to 66866. That's hotel to 66866. Of course, I got to ask you to like our Facebook page, follow us on LinkedIn, and all of that great stuff. Maritza, thank you so much for watching. And I do agree with you that there is a stigma out there that women cannot do both, be an incredible person at home while also finding place in the workplace. And I got to say, part of me, wonders how all of that is going to change. And I really do hope we can get past this in the future. Everyone out there is valuable. Everyone can do their part, and everyone can give you out there an understanding of how to do stuff that you may not have realized because of your own inherent culture and the way that you were raised. All right. Thanks, everybody. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So remember, you've got one life, blaze on. And I feel like we've been doing that all week, just blazing on through all of this stuff.